Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Two Tutors Talking with your lovely host, Audrey Codner. How you guys doing? So again, I have a fabulous tutor. Now, if you are a parent or you're a teacher, or even if you're a tutor of like elementary, maybe some reading, some phonics, this will be a nice person to get to know, maybe to connect, maybe collab, or maybe even hire. So I definitely want to introduce you to my friend, another Philly girl, gotta represent. All right, Susan Grimes. Hello, Susan. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am great. Thank you so much for coming in. I greatly appreciate you sharing your
Of course.
presence with us.
Of course. Of course. I'm so happy to be here.
So, if anything, tell us a little bit about yourself, other than you're a Philly girl like I am, but we got to represent it.
Of course. Of
Tell us
course.
a little bit about yourself.
So, I have my bachelor's degree in elementary early childhood education, and I've been in the field since 2008. Well, actually, before, if you consider, working at day camps and practicums and student teaching and all of those fun things. And I was teaching mostly 4 and 5 year olds since, like I said, 2008 up until the pandemic in 2020. And then I decided to not go back for a variety of reasons. But then I was thinking, how can I make an impact with more children? So I usually would have between 5 and 10 children, just me teaching, which was great, wonderful, an amazing experience the last few years. But I said, how can I make an impact to more children and reach more children and help them in school and just not focusing on like a small little bubble in the Philadelphia area? So that's when I decided to start my tutoring business, Tutoring with Miss Susan LLC. And so I focus on teaching or tutoring anywhere in phonics, reading, writing, math for those little ones as early as preschool till about third grade, because that's where my experience is in and that's where what my degree is in. So between even just like numbers and colors and shapes and those sort of things, just and as well as addition, subtraction, and all this new math that's out there that can be a little bit tricky for a lot of people and parents to understand, like those concepts and just reading and reading levels and so forth, to improve those skills and even just confidence. Parents have told me that by these online tutoring sessions that their confidence in their child has just gone way up, self-esteem and so forth. So I'm like, that's amazing. I don't even realize I'm doing it and until I hear the parents compliment. So I'm like, all right. So that's another thing, as well. So just kind of boosting that self-esteem and self-confidence as well.
That's awesome. And making that transition, like from a classroom setting to now developing your own, like it's almost like you're almost reborn in a way. It just
Yeah.
makes me want to say that you still have that love and desire for learning. But I love the fact that you didn't want to just stay, yeah, we love our Philly people. We get it.
Sure.
But it just seems like even though there's so many people, not even just in the States, like there's also international. So it's like all your little tidbits that you're teaching can definitely go and expand to international waters completely.
Yeah, and I just felt
So
like I was in a place where I was stuck and I wanted to advance in my career. And yes, taking on a business is like a whole other level, but it's like, you learn so much and you grow as a person and you build your own self-confidence and self-esteem as well. So it was like we're all on this like big learning journey together.
and that's awesome because you like to do the in person you did at one time, like when you were doing like more of the hands-on, or it was like more of like a construction type of thing. Like you like to have like manipulatives
So
and
yeah, so during
be
my
able to
tutoring
expand.
sessions, yeah. So I all my sessions are online and I use actual materials and I
Mhm.
show them onto the screen. I use whiteboards for writing and so forth. So it's a fun experience and the children can relax at home. And like I said, with the online platform, you don't have to, with one less place you have to run to, take your kid, pick them up, all of that, where sometimes like the parents are cooking dinner and I'm tutoring their child or doing housework and so forth, where and their kids just relaxed and we can just, have fun and do our lesson. And a lot of kids, like I always, incorporate, like physical activity in between, and they don't even want to do that. They just want to keep going because they're so involved and engaged, which is awesome. And like I always start with a story to kind of just set the tone, relax, and asking questions like who writes the words, who draws the pictures, what are the parts of the book, things like that as well. And asking comprehension questions, the setting, the characters, all of those things. What do you think is going to happen next? Predictions. So all of those things are incorporated just by reading a story.
And that's great. Now, before we go into further, if you are watching this live, go ahead and hit hashtag live. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay. And if you are here for the live, put in a comment, because we want to expand. We want to know your questions. We want to know your comments and your concerns. Because a lot of people, tutoring is like almost a new language to a lot of people, especially after the pandemic. So many of us are like, oh, we're in it because we're currently tutoring. But when it comes to saying a parent, a lot of them really like, look, tutoring used to be like something known for someone that's super filthy rich. It's not known for everyone else. And it is like a new language for some others. So as we go through this, now we want to kind of talk a little bit about like what are you seeing in your sessions? Like when the kids are coming and they're coming from different backgrounds. They're coming from different, not only like physical backgrounds, they're coming from economic backgrounds as well. But they're also coming in with like some lack of something. Like, what are you noticing when they first come to you in your sessions?
Honestly, it is like more so about like the self-confidence, because I feel like sometimes I feel like they know the information, but they just have a hard time of like expressing it in school when there's 30 children and you only have so much time, and maybe it takes them like a little bit longer to figure out the answer. Maybe they need to read over the question a few more times. So just kind of even building that self-confidence, and so forth. That's definitely like something I'm noticing. And a lot of times I try to make it where it's like, can you teach me what you did in school? Because let them be the teacher, and they love doing that. And so like they'll show me like how they figure out the math problem and that kind of thing. I'm like, oh, okay. So like that's also a way of building the self-confidence and continuously saying, good job, you got this, awesome, keep going, you're so close. Like those little phrases definitely goes a long way with the little ones.
Yeah, and it goes along for my older ones too, because sometimes they think that because they're older, they don't need as much affirmations as possible. But everyone wants something. Everybody
Of
wants to know
course.
that they're doing a good job, right? Are you
Absolutely.
on the right line? So with your kids, like it's almost like what kind of makes you a little different from everyone else? Like what kind of makes you like slightly unique compared to
Well,
other tutors?
sure, sure. Well, like I was saying before, I use all of my materials are actual physical materials that I put on the screen, and so forth. I even listened to, I bought the little light. I bought the light. This thing right here. This also helps with like the reading the stories.
Yes.
Going on holding it up and so forth. But like a lot of tutors, I noticed they do like click this or click that. Like they incorporate other like online programs, which is great. But that's not me, and that's not what I want to do. I want to use actual materials, because in school they're using actual materials like the cubes and the 10 frames and like those type of things, flashcards. And I feel like they get more engaged than like, let me figure out which key to push. Or they can just be like, I can't tell if they're really learning and grasping the concept if they're just like clicking away and that kind of thing. So that's what I do to make myself unique, is use actual materials. Like I go to the library every couple of weeks and take out new books. I have, materials that I ordered online through Amazon and that kind of thing. And it works, and it's great. And I have the kids like, what color do you want to use? And kind of give them the choice. Which story do you want to use? Do you want to read this one or this one? Kind of give them choices as well, so they feel like this is a meaningful session, that they care about me and and my opinion matters and counts, and they're learning, and it makes them, and then they are more engaged. See, a lot of people say, oh, well, it's online and they're little, it's not going to work, all of that. I'm like, it does work. It's more so not so much, because you can have a tutoring session in person at the library, at someone's house, but if you're not making if the child's not making that connection with that tutor, it doesn't even matter whether they're in person. But if you're online, you make that connection. It's all about, in my opinion, the connection that I have with the student.
And I think the one thing that always reminds me of you, Susan, each and every time you're like, I want them to feel like I'm sitting right next to them.
Yes.
It's like that's how personable you really like. I want them to feel that you are being heard, you're being understood, and I'm basically walking you through it step by step because just like you mentioned, their class sizes are huge because we have so many different levels of teachers that are still in the system. Some people are being used with a substitute teacher. So when you have like 30, sometimes 40 kids in a classroom, or even like 20 kids, but
Sure.
20 kids is like 20 different personalities, 20 different abilities, 20 different disabilities. And it's almost like, how can you really weed them out? But then when you come, you're going to focus on that one particular child,
Yes. And that's
or you're going to be like, hi, I'm right here. Let's look at this book. What do you want to read today? What do you want to do today? So I always remember every time I think Susan, I always think, I am personally with this child. I
yes. And
love
like
that.
even like when I like read a story, I'm like, do you want to read this one or this one? So already they're engaged. Already they feel like they
Right.
have a choice. It's not like we're doing this
Exactly.
and that's that. Another thing I've noticed is that some of the parents tell me that the teachers are not sending home work or they're not communicating that much. And that's another frustrating part. Because when I ask them, okay,
Mhm.
can you send me some work that they're doing? They don't have much to send me because the teachers are not doing a great job of communicating, especially with those little ones who you're not going to get much out of them when they come home from school. So at least if they see like physical work or something like that. So that's another issue that a lot of, families are dealing with too, the lack of communication from school to home.
And then having someone like yourself or even any other tutor to be like that go to. So, and especially if you can get someone that has experience with the education system or maybe knows the curriculum a little bit, that they can actually say, all right, well, this is what we're doing now, but I know your child is going to see this next. So then you can kind of like get them a little jump start. And I don't know about you, but I think everybody loves getting a little jump start.
Exactly.
So,
And I offer
just to
the
kind of have that. Go ahead.
and I offer that
Go
too.
ahead.
Like if some students are feeling bored in their school, they can, come to me and we can move on to the next level. So that way they have something to, to do and they're continuously learning and not just sitting around in class like causing problems type thing.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing. So here's one thing that I actually want to say. Like, what are some things, because you have the little ones, like the framework, not to put pressure on you, but the
Sure.
framework is really going to be on your shoulders. So what are like some of the things that parents should kind of look out for to kind of like clue them in that, yeah, you're really going to need a tutor? Like, what are like some things that they might have to kind of like, let me just take a look with the
And
foundational skills.
well, first of all, if the interest is there or not there, like if it's, I know that all the teachers always ask the parents, let's read 15, 20 minutes a day. And if they're really like not interested and they're really having a hard time, even just, saying like simple words or can't having a hard time with like letter recognition, that's like a red flag right there. Just first of all, like the non interest. Even if you get books about like, their favorite show or movie, they have all those kind of books out. If the interest isn't even there, that's already like a red flag. Or even same thing with like math. If they don't even want it, just even like recognizing numbers and those type of things. If they can't even do like the basic skills, like, oh, we better, look for a tutor or something like that. Just looking for like the basic like interest, and is the teacher's like saying any sending home notes or is there any work coming home? Just like looking for like little things to see because teachers have like you said, like 20, 30 kids. They can't be like focused on like that one person. But if they feel like at home or like something that they should be like reading that they can't read, like even like signs when you're out, like little things, if they're not like recognizing certain things, that could be like a red flag. If they're really little, like colors, shapes, just like asking those small little things, those to me are like red flags.
Thank you. Thank you. So,
Sure.
parents, I mean, it's just a matter of I know that things kind of get a little technical and things we're so used to like putting everything on technology and it's easy for us to put that DVD disc in or go ahead on a live stream and just say, "Okay, sit down, watch this." You still have to do some kind of interaction because you can probably see, like you said, there might be certain things. You might all of a sudden you tell the kid, like, what color is that? And they say it's purple, and you clearly see that it's red. there's maybe some developmental issues. So sometimes it's like we need to kind of take a look and just spend some time with our kids and don't let the technology teach your child. It's just my
Absolutely.
little tidbits.
100%.
So, any upcoming attractions for you? Like, do you have any availability? I saw that you were on a couple events recent,
Yeah.
like fairly recently. Tell us
Yeah.
about those little events that you did.
So that was like a local vendor event I did, which was really fun. I had like a little contest, and actually I brought my materials. And there was even a parent, their child was literally 18 months. Can I, sign up? And I'm like, that's a little young, but I mean, definitely we can have a conversation about it. And someone was trying to buy my materials. I was like, no, no, they're not for sale. But it was just like showing like what I use, and so forth. I was giving away like a free tutoring session, 3 free tutoring sessions, and I had a lot of information, a lot of input from parents, and interest and that kind of thing. But what I do have is that, since especially the holiday season is here pretty much, that I offer digital gift certificates. I always say give the gift of education.
Love it.
So you can, purchase a $50 certificate, which would include a consultation and a free tutoring and a session, or you can, spend $100 and get a consultation and 2 tutoring sessions. So it's all, it's up to however much you feel like spending, how much you can afford. But I always say, toys come and go, but I feel that education is here forever. You can always give that gift of education. And it's like even like a last minute thing. Oh my goodness. And just send me an email. I can, forward you a digital certificate, and there you go. Print it out and you have your gift for a
I
child.
love that. I love that.
Yes.
And of
Give
course, a lot of people, all of a
education.
sudden, I'm starting to see some hearts and some thumbs up come popping up everywhere too. So I'm like,
Yay.
obviously, everyone loves that whole idea. Oh, I think that's great because it's true. Once the battery runs out,
That's it.
yeah, that's it. I mean, yeah, we want to go out to the store and buy another battery, but sometimes that's a hassle, you know? So
Exactly.
give the gift of education that. All right. So if anything, you have that. Do you have any openings?
Yes,
I don't
I
want to
do.
tease people and they're like, oh, so we can't even get
Yes,
her.
yes, I have availability. So usually my hours, it's Monday to Friday, but I also offer like a Saturday or Sunday morning if for some reason the week does not work. I have a lot of flexibility. And I also am trying to get some younger children for like a preschool pod in the morning time. So that's like if you have like a young child, I would say like 3 or 4, 4 or 5, maybe who missed the cutoff, or there's no more room in the preschool class and they're just sitting at home with the parent or grandparent or babysitter or whoever that want just like an hour of, activities. We go over shapes, numbers, colors, we read stories, do like little, fun arts and crafts. Like I'm trying to build up that as well, for 4 children for like a 10 o'clock session and like an 11 o'clock session Eastern time.
Okay. That's awesome. Great. So now if this is like, entertaining you guys and you're like, yeah, I want this, like how do I get in touch with her, Audrey? Like stop holding her back from here. So if anything, you can definitely go to visit her on her website. So tutoringwithmisssusan.com. There's no dot in between the S's. It's just continuation. Or if you want, you can email her directly. So tutoringwithmiss.susan@gmail.com. Or if you're really one of those social media people and it's so hard to wean off of social media, I get it. You get in there, you get into that whole trap. You also have her Facebook, which again, tutoring with Miss capitalized, Susan LLC. And then also I'm trying to bring the Instagram with tutoring with Miss Susan. You can definitely go with that as well. So you got multiple places here. So if you don't want the Facebook, you're like, Audrey, can you put the website back on? Not a problem. Stop yelling at me. No, just kidding. So there's like the website, tutoringwithmisssusan.com. And then I'll put the email back up as well because you can do an easy search on Instagram and in Facebook if you just wanted to look for her. All right. Well, Susan, thank you so much for stopping by. And then boom, before you know it's 20 minutes.
I know. Thank you for having me. This was so much fun.
Not a problem. So you're always definitely welcome back. And for you guys that are coming here for Two Tutors Talking, this is my 30th episode of Two Tutors
Oh,
Talking. So I am like
yay.
Let's do it. So, if anything, if you are a tutor and you really are thinking about expanding, I'm going to still keep putting the your website underneath. If you're thinking about expanding and you want to like learn how to be an online tutor, go ahead and join my Facebook group, From the Classroom to Online Tutoring. It is a virtual community. We're going to have actually a couple upcoming events coming up, and I'm excited about that. I can't wait for that to happen. And then stay tuned for next week, episode number 31, where we have Miss Darcy Ziegler, okay, for Defending Dyslexia with Darcy. So she is really going to be working on, obviously, dyslexia and just like how we're going to actually help our kids get through and just be able to build their confidence and feel successful in it. So, again, thank you so much, Susan, and thank you everyone for joining in. And remember to continue to be awesome, and I will see you guys next week. Take care.